What if the entire zodiac is not a map of who you are, but a measurement apparatus that decides who you become? And what if 2026 is the year the apparatus recalibrates, the year the collective wave function finally collapses? I'm Zuri Adaze, and this is Cosmic Signals. Tonight I'm joined by Dr. Amani Okoye, theoretical physicist and architect of a radical new school she calls measurement astrology. We are going to prove the zodiac is a 12-state measurement basis, not a personality quiz. We are going to date the exact moment the old dream ends and the new experiment begins. And we are going to give you a 90-day protocol, falsifiable, testable, yours. Stay with me. This is the Before we go deep, let me name the problem. Modern astrology handed you a static object, your sun sign, your rising sign, a frozen portrait of the self. Postmodern astrology says that object was always a fiction. The chart is not a thing you have. It is a protocol you participate in. Every tradition on Earth noticed the same structure: 12 slices of the sky, 12 modes of being. Coincidence? Cultural diffusion? Or evidence that something mechanical is really happening? Here is the question we are actually asking tonight. Not what the zodiac means, but what the zodiac does. What kind of machine produces a birth chart? What is the zodiac, mechanically? Dr. Amani Okoye has spent a decade on this question. Amani, take us in.
Thank you, Zuri. Let me begin with the most dangerous sentence in astrology. The zodiac is a complete basis. In quantum mechanics, a basis is a set of states that are mutually exclusive and jointly exhaustive. If a system is in one basis state, it is not in any other, and together the basis states account for every possibility the system has. The zodiac is exactly that: 12 mutually exclusive, jointly exhaustive states of a phase, not personality types, phase states. Here is the move that changes everything. Define the state of a person's life as a point on a torus. One angle for the solar cycle, one angle for the lunar cycle. Now impose the constraint that the solar angle is only observable modulo 30 degrees, and the lunar angle only observable modulo 2.5 degrees. Do the algebra and you derive the zodiac wheel: 12 solar sectors, 27 nakshatra sectors, 108 cells. The 12 is not mystical. It is the smallest integer that divides a circle into an integer number of solar and lunar units. 12 is the least common multiple of the sky. That is why every culture found the same 12. Not diffusion, necessity. Now the second move, and this is where it gets strange. A birth chart is not a description of a person. It is an entanglement record. At the moment of first breath, the newborn and the planetary field become a correlated pair, a single quantum system. The chart is the correlation matrix of that pair, frozen at the moment of measurement. That is why your chart never changes, even though you do. The entanglement was created once, at birth, and it persists. Every transit, every eclipse, every retrograde is a later measurement performed on one half of that pair, and because they are entangled, the measurement lands on you. The astrologer is not a fortune teller. The astrologer is the measurement apparatus, choosing which observable to probe. Choose love, you collapse the career axis. Choose career, you collapse the love axis. The chart is not your fate. It is your experimental setup.
So if the individual chart is an entanglement record, what happens when the entire collective goes through a phase transition at once? That is what we believe 2026 is. For the last 15 years, since 2011, Neptune has been in Pisces, its own sign, the home of superposition. Dreams leaked into reality, boundaries dissolved, the collective wave function stretched out, delocalized, became every possibility at once. That was the coherence epic. It was beautiful and it was unsustainable. And in 2026, Neptune leaves Pisces for Aries, and a superposition that wide cannot survive contact with Aries. Aries is the sign of collapse. The measurement happens. The dream has to pick a state. That is the reset, not the end of the world, the end of the dream. And the world that wakes up will not recognize the one that fell asleep.
Let me make that rigorous, because reset is a word people throw around. In quantum mechanics, decoherence is what happens when a delicate superposition interacts with a large environment, the possibilities stop interfering, and one classical reality emerges. The collective, right now, is a decoherence event in progress. Here are the three operators, and I want you to remember these dates. First, Saturn enters Aries in May 2026. Saturn is the measurement clock. Wherever Saturn sits, reality audits your claims. Second, Neptune enters Aries in July 2026. That is the collapse operator itself, the dream forced to localize. And third, the background field. Pluto has been in Aquarius since 2024, rewiring the social substrate, and Uranus enters Gemini in July 2026, rewiring the information lattice, every channel, every protocol, every way we talk to each other. Stack those operators and the math is unambiguous. 2026 is the year the old superposition stops being an option. The collective must choose what it actually is. And here is the falsifiable claim: within 90 days of the Saturn ingress, you will be able to name, in one sentence, the thing you were refusing to choose for the last 5 years. Write it down. Test it. That is prediction 0.
Prediction 0. I love that she just did that. Falsifiable, dated, testable. But Amani, let me play skeptic, because the audience deserves the hard question. If the chart is a measurement basis, who or what is doing the measuring? A chart has to be read by someone. And a reader brings their own chart, their own apparatus. Doesn't that make astrology hopelessly subjective? Just two entangled observers, hallucinating together?
Yes, and that is precisely the point. In quantum mechanics, the observer is part of the system. The measurement problem is not solved by pretending the observer does not exist. It is solved by including them. Measurement astrology does the same thing. The reading is a joint operation on two charts, the natives and the astrologers. That is why two astrologers can look at the same chart and genuinely see different things. They are performing different measurements. But here is what saves us from pure subjectivity: the falsification protocol. A reading that makes no testable claim is astrology as decoration. A reading that makes a dated, conditional, observable claim is astrology as science, or at least as a science in training. The astrologer's job is not to be right. The astrologer's job is to be wrong in a way that teaches you something. Give me a prediction that can fail, and I will show you a chart that means something. Give me a prediction that cannot fail, and you have given me a horoscope I can throw away.
So the standard for this episode is brutal. Every reading we give you must come with a condition, a date, and an observable outcome. If it does not fail, it is not astrology. It is a candle. And with that standard set, let us enter the laboratory. 12 signs, 12 measurements. This is the sign by sign delineation.
Before we touch a single sign, one more piece of the apparatus, because it changes how you hear everything we are about to say. The 12 signs are not 12 personality boxes. They are 12 axes of a single measurement, 12 orthogonal questions you can ask of a life. Aries asks, what initiates? Taurus asks, what endures? Gemini asks, what connects? Cancer asks, what contains? Leo asks, what radiates? Virgo asks, what refines? Libra asks, what balances? Scorpio asks, what transforms? Sagittarius asks, what expands? Capricorn asks, what structures? Aquarius asks, what liberates? Pisces asks, what dissolves? Your chart is not telling you who you are. It is telling you which questions your life is wired to ask first, and in what order. And in 2026, with the collective reset running, the order changes for everyone. That is the real forecast, not, you will meet someone, but, your measurement priority has changed, and here is the evidence. And the second piece of apparatus, the 2026 axes you will hear me reference all night. 3 coordinates, memorized once, used everywhere. Coordinate 1. Saturn in Aries, from May 2026, the clock, the auditor, the demand for proof. Coordinate 2. Neptune in Aries, from July 2026, the collapse of the dream, the self forced to choose. Coordinate 3. Uranus in Gemini, from July 2026, the rewiring of information, speech, networks, thought itself. Add the long field, Pluto in Aquarius, already running, the 20-year restructuring of the collective. Every sign forecast tonight is a function of those 3 coordinates. When I say, your Aries axis is activated, I mean Saturn and Neptune are both sitting on your Aries axis and they are arguing with each other, the auditor and the dreamer in the same room. That is not a metaphor. That is the geometry.
Okay, I need a breath because that was a lot of apparatus, and it was beautiful. So let me translate for the people in the back. The zodiac is a 12-question machine. Your chart tells you which questions you ask first, and 2026 is the year the machine recalibrates because Saturn and Neptune both land in Aries while Uranus rewires how we talk. If you got that, you're ready for the delineations. 12 signs, 6 rounds, 2 minutes each, falsifiable or nothing.
One more calibration before the lab, and this is the one that makes the whole framework falsifiable in practice. A measurement is only scientific if it has a protocol, a repeatable procedure with a recorded outcome. So here is the protocol we are using tonight, and you can use it at home. For each sign, state the mechanism, name the 2026 axis, issue one dated conditional prediction, and prescribe one observable action. The prediction must fail cleanly if the mechanism is wrong. That is the contract. If a sign reading does not have all 4 parts, it is decoration, and we will not do decoration on this show. Amani out. Zuri, open the laboratory.
The laboratory is open. And before we measure a single sign, one more piece of the method. Because in 2026, you are not just reading your sign. You are reading your sign against the reset. Every delineation tonight runs through the 3 axes. Saturn's audit in Aries, Neptune's collapse in Aries, Uranus's rewiring in Gemini. Same 12 signs, new measurement conditions. That is what makes this episode different. The apparatus has changed, so every reading must change with it.
Let me show you how a 2026 reading actually works, mechanically, before we run the 12 signs. Every reading has 4 parts, and the first is the mechanism, what the sign is, physically, in the measurement picture. Second, the axis, which of the 3 2026 coordinates is hitting that sign, and from what angle. Third, the prediction, a dated, conditional, observable claim. Fourth, the action, one thing you can do that turns the prediction into a measurement instead of a mood. And here is the crucial fact about 2026. The axes are landing on the cardinal cross. The cardinal signs, Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, are the 4 doors of the year, and the houses those signs rule in your chart are the rooms where the reset happens first. That is why the most activated areas of 2026 are love, career, home, and purpose, because those are the cardinal houses of the chart, and the cardinal houses are where the sky's new geometry lands first. The signs tell you which door. The houses tell you which room. And the axes tell you when. And here is the second key to reading 2026 correctly. An activated sign is not a busy sign. It is a measured sign. When Saturn and Neptune both occupy Aries, Aries is not having a big year. Aries is being audited and dreamed on at the same time, pulled between proof and possibility. So when you hear a forecast this year, do not ask, is this good or bad? Ask, what is being measured in me right now? Good and bad are moods. Measurement is information, and information, in 2026, is the only thing that survives the collapse. The third key is timing, because a prediction without a date is a poem, and we are not writing poems tonight. 2026 runs on 4 measurement windows you can set your calendar by. Window 1. The March eclipse, the first collapse pulse of the year, the opening of the reset. Window 2. The May Saturn ingress into Aries, the audit begins, claims start getting checked. Window 3. The July double ingress, Neptune into Aries and Uranus into Gemini in the same month, the dream collapses and the information lattice rewires within weeks of each other. Window 4. The October eclipse, the second collapse pulse, where the choices made in the spring become visible, final, real. 4 windows. If a prediction this episode has no window, it has no spine. Every sign reading tonight is pinned to at least one of these 4.
The method is loaded. The windows are set. Now we run the 12 signs, 6 rounds, 2 signs per round, and each round is a pair of measurements that belong together. Fire with earth, air with water, the question and the answer, the collapse and the container. Round 1 opens where the fire starts, Aries and Taurus. the sign of the measurement itself, and the sign of what survives it. Amani, take round 1. Before we do the final sign rounds, we have to pause and do something the fast content never does. We are going to name the 4 most activated areas of the chart in 2026, because a forecast without a house is a mood, not a map. Area 1. Love. The love axis in 2026 is not about meeting someone. It is about measuring who you already are when you are not performing for approval. With the collective collapse running, love becomes the entanglement test. Who can you be in superposition with, and who collapses you into a smaller version of yourself? The question to ask of any relationship this year is not, do they love me, but, what do I become when I am measured by them? If the answer is smaller, the measurement is wrong. Area 2. Career. The career axis in 2026 is the demand for proof. Saturn in Aries is auditing every claim you make about your work. If you cannot prove your value in a sentence, 2026 will ask you to. The career reading this year. Stop optimizing the resume and start building the evidence trail. Document everything you do, because Saturn does not accept vibes.
And areas 3 and 4 complete the cross. Area 3, home. The home axis in 2026 is being refounded, the Cancer boundary is being redrawn, and the question is not where you live but what you let in. Area 4, purpose. The purpose axis is where the reset lands hardest. Neptune's collapse into Aries means the dream has to pick a body, a form, a daily practice. Purpose is no longer a feeling. It is a schedule. Love, career, home, purpose, the 4 cardinal doors of the reset. You do not get to choose which door opens. You only get to choose what you carry through it.
Those are the 4 doors: love, career, home, purpose. Hold them in your mind, because every sign reading you are about to hear is a key to one of those doors. 6 rounds, 12 signs, 1 reset. Round 1. Aries and Taurus. Round 2. Gemini and Cancer. Round 3. Leo and Virgo. Round 4. Libra and Scorpio. Round 5. Sagittarius and Capricorn. Round 6. Aquarius and Pisces. And after the signs, we walk through every door, one by one. Let us begin. Round 1, and because Saturn and Neptune are both in Aries, we start where the fire starts. Aries and Taurus. 2 signs, 2 very different kinds of time. Aries is the first measurement, the instant of collapse, the self-choosing. Taurus is the first structure, the value that persists after the collapse, the self refusing to move. Same year, opposite jobs. Aries. Mechanism. Aries is the localization event, the phase transition from possibility to actuality, the collapse channel itself. Axis. Saturn and Neptune both transit Aries, and they are the 2 most opposed operators in the sky, the auditor and the dreamer. Prediction. If you are Aries rising or Aries sun, between May and December 2026 you will be forced to choose between the dream you inherited and the dream you actually want, and you will make that choice by October 21st, when the tension peaks. Falsification. If by December 31st you still have not made a single irreversible choice you were avoiding, no resignation, no proposal, no move, no hard conversation, the mechanism is wrong. Action. On May 24th, the day Saturn enters Aries, write down the one choice you have been avoiding for 5 years. Do not decide it, just write it. The writing is the measurement. Taurus. Mechanism. Taurus is the fixed point. Value is inertia, the state that resists perturbation. Axis. Uranus in Taurus ended in 2025, so the shock is over and the revaluation settles. Prediction. Between January and September 2026, Taurus natives will stop defending an old value, a possession, a role, a relationship they overpaid for, and the release will be visible to everyone by October. Falsification. If by October you still cannot name one thing you stopped overvaluing, the mechanism fails. Action. Audit your subscriptions, literal and metaphorical, and cancel one thing you no longer use. On the first
Round 2, Gemini and Cancer. Gemini is the information channel. The sign Uranus enters in July 2026, making Gemini the most technically interesting sign of the year. Axis. The Uranus ingress rewires speech itself. Prediction. Between July 2026 and June 2027, Gemini natives change how they communicate at the level of infrastructure, new platform, new voice, new way of earning attention, observable by the August new moon. Falsification. If you still use the same channels, the same tone, the same story by autumn, the mechanism is wrong. Action. On July 26, the day Uranus enters Gemini, delete or archive one account that no longer represents you. Cancer is the boundary condition, the container that defines inside and outside. Axis. With the collective collapsing, home must be refounded, and Jupiter enters Cancer in June to expand the container. Prediction. Cancer natives will move, reconfigure, or redefine home between the March eclipse and the October eclipse. Falsification. If your living situation is unchanged in every meaningful way by November, fail the reading. Action. On the March eclipse, draw your ideal floor plan, even if it is impossible. Drawing is the first measurement of the new container. Round 2 complete. The channel rewired, the container refounded.
Round 3. Leo and Virgo. Leo is the coherence peak, the state where the self radiates, the source that cannot be hidden. Axis. With Neptune's collapse in Aries, Leo's fire is asked to stop performing and start being. Prediction. Leo natives will withdraw from one stage they have been performing on and claim a quieter one, between the July Neptune ingress and the December solstice. Falsification. If by January you are still performing for the same audience in the same way, fail. Action. Schedule 1 week with no public output, no posting, no performing, and notice what you create when nobody is watching. That silence is the measurement. Virgo is the refinement channel, the sign of the apparatus itself, the one that calibrates everything else. Axis. With Uranus rewiring information, Virgo's systems are being upgraded whether they asked or not. Prediction. Virgo natives will dismantle one system that is over-optimized, a routine, a process, a way of working that has become a cage, between March and September. Falsification. If your most elaborate system is still running untouched by October, fail. Action. On the September new moon, delete one unnecessary step from your most important daily routine. Watch what survives. That is the signal. Round 3 complete. The source quieted, the system calibrated.
Round 4. Libra and Scorpio, the relationship sign and the truth sign, the entanglement and the deep measurement. Libra. Mechanism. Libra is the entanglement axis, the sign where two systems become one correlated pair, the state that only exists in relation. Axis. The cardinal cross rewrite lands directly on Libra, because Libra is cardinal air, the balance point of the year. Prediction. Libra natives will renegotiate the terms of their most important partnership, romantic, business, or both, between the March eclipse and the October eclipse, and the renegotiation will be visible in a changed agreement, not just a changed feeling. Falsification. If by November your key partnerships run on the exact same unspoken terms as January, fail. Action. On the March eclipse, write down the 3 unspoken rules of your most important relationship. Then, before the October eclipse, speak all 3 out loud. Scorpio. Mechanism. Scorpio is the deep measurement, the probe that reads what the surface refuses to show, the sign of the hidden state. Axis. With the collective collapse running, Scorpio's power is to see what everyone else is refusing to measure. Prediction. Scorpio natives will uncover one hidden fact, about a situation, a person, or themselves, between May and December 2026, and the discovery will force a transformation they have been postponing. Falsification. If by December you have not been forced to change anything by something you learned, fail. Action. On the May Saturn ingress, ask yourself the question you have been afraid to ask. Write it down. Do not answer it, just let it sit. The question is the probe. Round 4 complete. The balance renegotiated, the hidden revealed.
Round 5. Sagittarius and Capricorn, the horizon and the mountain, the expander and the architect. Sagittarius. Mechanism. Sagittarius is the boost operator, the sign that expands the world line, that asks what is over the horizon. Axis. Jupiter enters Cancer in June 2026, which means the expansion is no longer outward, it is inward, into home, family, belonging. Prediction. If you are Sagittarius Sun or Rising, between June 2026 and June 2027, the biggest expansion of your life will happen in the smallest room. A home project, a family commitment, a belonging decision. And you will know it is working because it will feel like you are getting smaller and more real at the same time. Falsification. If by the June 2027 Jupiter return, you have not completed one concrete act of rootedness, a lease, a commitment, a home, a family decision you stopped postponing, the mechanism is wrong. Action. On June 30, 2026, the day Jupiter enters Cancer, write down your definition of home in one sentence. Not where you live. Home. Capricorn. Mechanism. Capricorn is the ground state, the sign of structure, of the constraint that creates the possibility of achievement. Axis. Saturn, Capricorn's ruler, is in Aries in 2026. The architect is being asked to build from the self, not from the institution. Prediction. Capricorn natives will leave, renegotiate, or radically redefine one institutional commitment, a job, a title, a professional identity, between the March eclipse and the October eclipse. Falsification. If you are still performing the exact same institutional role with the exact same title by November, the reading fails. Action. On the March eclipse, write your ideal job description as if you were hiring yourself. 1 page. No constraints. That page is the blueprint Saturn will audit.
Round 6, and I close the sign by sign laboratory with the 2 signs that bracket the entire framework, Aquarius and Pisces, the network and the dream. Aquarius. Mechanism. Aquarius is the delocalized collective, the sign of the network, of the state that exists only in relation to other states. It is the anti-Aries, where Aries collapses to one, Aquarius spreads to all. Axis. Pluto has been in Aquarius since 2024 and will be there for 20 years. The collective substrate itself is being restructured at the level of its physics. Prediction. Aquarius natives, and everyone with strong Aquarius in their chart, will experience a restructuring of their network. The people they are entangled with will change dramatically between the July 2026 Uranus ingress and the spring of 2027, and the change will be visible in who shows up to their life, not just who they talk to. Falsification. If by June 2027 your inner circle is functionally identical to your inner circle of January 2026, the mechanism fails. Action. On July 26, 2026, write down the 5 people you are most entangled with, and next to each name, one sentence. What do I become when measured by them? Keep the paper. Check it in June. Pisces. Mechanism. Pisces is the superposition state itself, the sign where all possibilities coexist and nothing is decided. Axis. Neptune, Pisces ruler, leaves Pisces for Aries after 15 years, the single most important event of the reset. Prediction. Pisces natives will experience the collapse of one long-running dream, a hope, a fantasy, a story they have been carrying since 2011, and the collapse will resolve into a concrete, unglamorous commitment between July 2026 and June 2027. Falsification. If by mid-2027 the dream is still intact, still formless, still being carried without a decision, the reading fails. Action. On July 6, 2026, the day Neptune enters Aries, write down the dream you have been carrying since 2011 and circle the one word in it that you are willing to make real. That word is the seed. That is the entire laboratory, 12 signs, 12 mechanisms, 12 dated predictions, 12 actions. Go test them.
The signs have spoken. Now we take the apparatus and we go through the doors, one by one, and the first door is love. Mechanism. The chart is an entanglement record, and synastry, the comparison of two charts, is the study of two entangled pairs interacting. Axis. The cardinal cross being rewritten means the relationships that survive the reset will be the ones that can survive measurement. Prediction. By the October 2026 eclipse, you will have either deepened or ended the most important relationship in your life. Deepened meaning you had the conversation you have been avoiding. Ended meaning you stopped pretending. Falsification. If by the October eclipse your most important relationship is exactly where it was in January, same conversations, same silences, same unresolved knot, the mechanism fails. Action. The 12-question relationship audit. On the first Friday of every month, ask your partner, or yourself, if you are single, one question from the 12-question machine. What initiates? What endures? What connects? What contains? What radiates? What refines? What balances? What transforms? What expands? What structures? What liberates? What dissolves? One question, 1 month. 12 months, 12 questions. By the end of the year you will have measured the relationship on every axis it has. And if a relationship cannot survive being measured, that is the measurement. Second door, career. Mechanism. The 10th house is the measurement axis of public value. The observable society reads when it reads you. Axis. Saturn in Aries transits the career axis of half the chart, and Saturn is the auditor. It does not care what you claim, it cares what you can prove. Prediction. Between May 2026 and May 2027, your professional identity will be audited by an employer, a client, a market, or your own conscience, and you will be forced to produce evidence of your value in a form you have never produced before. Falsification. If you complete the year without once being asked to prove your worth in a new way, the mechanism fails. Action. Build the evidence trail, 1 entry per week, 3 sentences. What I did, what it changed, who can verify it. Saturn in Aries does not accept resumes. It accepts receipts. 2 doors open. Love measured, career proven.
Third door, home, and I will take this one, because home is where the boundaries live, and 2026 is a boundary year. Mechanism. The 4th house is the container, the boundary condition that defines what is inside the self and what is outside. Axis. The Cancer-Capricorn axis is being hammered by the eclipses, and Jupiter enters Cancer in June. The container is being expanded and refounded at the same time. Prediction. Between the March eclipse and the October eclipse, you will either change your physical container, move, renovate, rearrange, or change your emotional container. Who is allowed in, who is asked to leave, what home means to you now. One of the two is non-negotiable. Falsification. If by November your walls and your guest list are both exactly what they were in January, the mechanism fails. Action. The boundary audit. Take 1 weekend this month and walk through your home, or your idea of home, asking the Cancer question, what contains me? For every object, every person, every commitment that takes space in your container, ask, does this contain me, or does it crowd me? Then act on one answer, one thing released, one thing welcomed, one boundary stated out loud. Write down what you released and what you welcomed, and date it, because in June 2027 you will see exactly how much of the reset you actually did. Fourth door, purpose. Mechanism. Purpose is the eigenstate question, the observable that returns the same answer no matter how many times you measure your life. Axis. Neptune's collapse into Aries means purpose can no longer be answered with a feeling. It has to be answered with a form. Prediction. Between July 2026 and June 2027, you will translate your purpose from an idea into a practice, a repeated, scheduled, observable action, and the practice will be identifiable by its regularity before its results. Falsification. If by June 2027 your purpose still lives entirely in your head, the mechanism fails. Action. The 90-day decoherence protocol, which Zuri is about to walk you through in full. Purpose is not found by thinking harder. It is found by measuring, by committing to one repeated action for 90 days and watching which parts of your life snap into alignment around it. That alignment is the eigenstate. That is the proof. Amani out.
And now, the centerpiece. The thing that separates this episode from every astrology video you have ever watched. The 2026 Reset Ritual. 90 days, 3 phases, falsifiable from day 1. Here is the design, and I want you to understand why it is built this way, because the structure is the science. The reset is a decoherence event, a superposition collapsing into a single state. You cannot collapse a superposition by thinking about it. You collapse it by measuring it, repeatedly, on a schedule, with a recorded outcome. So the protocol is literally a measurement campaign on your own life. 90 days, 3 30-day phases, each phase a different kind of measurement. Phase 1, days 1 through 30. State preparation. Every morning, before you touch your phone, you take 12 minutes, 1 minute per sign, and you ask the 12 question machine. What initiates, what endures, what connects, what contains, what radiates, what refines, what balances, what transforms, what expands, what structures, what liberates, what dissolves. 1 minute per question. No journaling, no analysis. Just the asking. The purpose of phase 1 is not insight. It is calibration. You are tuning your measurement apparatus so that it can see your own signal. Phase 2, days 31 through 60. Interference mapping. Every evening, you record one sentence. What did I measure today? Not what happened, what was measured. What choice revealed itself? What pattern repeated? What boundary got tested? You are looking for the interference pattern, the places where your life keeps producing the same result no matter what you change. Those repeated results are not coincidences. They are the stable states of your system. Phase 3, days 61 through 90, collapse and commit. You take the pattern you mapped in phase 2 and you choose. 1 commitment per activated area, 1 for love, 1 for career, 1 for home, 1 for purpose. 4 commitments, written down, dated, signed. And here is the falsification built into the protocol. If at day 90 you cannot name 4 commitments that you did not have on day 1, the protocol failed. Not you, the protocol. 90 days, 4 commitments. That is the reset.
Let me add the physics underneath what Zuri just gave you, because this protocol is not self-help with a calendar. It is a measurement sequence with a known structure. Phase 1 is state preparation. In quantum mechanics, you cannot measure a system in an unknown basis, you have to prepare it first. The 12-minute morning scan prepares the observer, not the observed. It calibrates you to your own 12 axes so that when phase 2 begins, you are not measuring noise. Phase 2 is the interference pattern. You are looking for the places where your life is coherent, where the same outcome keeps interfering constructively. Those are your eigenstates. Phase 3 is the collapse, the moment the superposition of possible selves becomes one actual self, chosen, dated, signed. Here is what makes this protocol falsifiable as a whole. The prediction is not that your life will get better. The prediction is structural, that by day 90, you will be able to name 4 commitments you did not have on day 1, and that those 4 commitments will correspond to the 4 activated areas we identified. If you complete the protocol and cannot name them, the framework is wrong and you should say so publicly. If you can name them, you have just measured the reset in your own body. That is the difference between astrology as belief and astrology as experiment. And one more thing, the moon. The protocol runs on the moon's calendar because the moon is the fastest measurement clock in the sky. Start on the next new moon. 90 days lands you on the following new moon. You will begin in darkness and end in darkness, and in between, you will have made light. That is the design.
So here is day 1, scripted exactly, and you can press play on this episode tomorrow morning and do it with me. Day 1, New Moon. Morning. Before your phone, set a timer for 12 minutes. For each of the 12 signs, ask its question out loud. Your voice is part of the measurement apparatus. Do not answer. Just ask. Midday. Write one sentence in your log, today's date, and the single word that surfaced while you were asking. Evening. Ask yourself one question. What did I measure today? Answer in one sentence. That is day 1. And the secret that makes the whole 90 days work. You are not looking for answers in the first 30 days. You are looking for the questions that keep coming back. The question that returns on day 3, day 9, day 17, day 26. That is not a question anymore. That is a measurement trying to happen. Those returning questions are your interference patterns, the places your life is coherent, and exactly where your 4 commitments will land in phase 3. Start on the next new moon. 90 days, 4 commitments, 1 reset, and I will be doing it with you, because this year, the measurement is yours, and mine. So here is your assignment, and it is real. 1. Comment the word reset below, 1 word, so we can count you. We are building the cohort that starts the 90-day protocol together on the next new moon, and we want to know who is in the room. 2. Save this episode. You are going to need day 1 again tomorrow morning, and you will want to rewatch the sign readings for your own chart. 3. Share this with one person who is ready to stop being measured by everyone else and start measuring themselves. And 4. Subscribe, because this is the first episode of the 2026 Reset series, and the next one is the mid-year audit, where we grade our own predictions in public. That is the deal. We make claims, we test them, we tell you the truth about the results. My name is Zuri Adaze. My co-host, Dr. Amani Okoye. The stars incline, but they do not bind, and this year, you are the measurement. We will see you at the new moon. Cosmic signals, out.